cash or whatever, people tend to ask themselves questions in their heads before they make a big purchasing decision. So what do you think are some questions that people ask themselves before they buy something?
Do I really need this?
Okay, so do I need it? That's a good one. What else do you think?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? What else?
What could it be used for?
Okay, that makes sense. It's not on the list, but maybe if we phrase.
How much is it?
Okay, can I afford it?
What next is our forever guarantee. So we do have forever guarantee.
Okay, what else do you think? People ask themselves before they buy something.
How long is it honestly gonna last?
Okay, yeah, how long will it last?
If the customer does need sharpening, but if we have really high sales.
What else do you think? How about how often will I use it? Do you think people care about that? Yeah, how often will I use it? Okay. What about, do other people like it? Do you think people care about that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do other people like it? Okay, so this is a pretty good list. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them on there. Like, do I have room for it? Does it look nice? Is it a brand name? But this is pretty good. So let's take this out of the equation for a moment. Can I afford it? Because remember, people won't justify spending money on something unless they see it's going to bring them value. You know, they're not going to just buy it just to buy it, unless they're like Bill Gates and they make a lot of money. But now, do people? Well, if someone looks at a product and they say, I need it, okay, now arguably you only really need air, water, shelter, and food, but do I need it? Okay, if they look at a product and they say, okay, I need it, it's worth it, it's going to last me forever, for a really long time, I'm going to use it pretty much every day, and other people who have it, they like it, don't you think they'll find a way to afford it?
Mm-hmm.
They can answer those questions that way. So let's look at Cutco. Do people need knives?
Of course.
Yes, everybody in Broome, Shenango, Tioga County, actually everybody in the country has food that's too big for them to just eat. They have to cut it up, okay? So people need knives. I know we haven't told you the price yet, but do you think it's worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Personally, out of all 2,100 customers I've had buy Cutco from me, I've never had one person tell me it wasn't worth it. That's why I still work here. It's pretty cool. How long will it last?
Forever. Time.
Forever, okay? So, forever. Have you guys ever seen The Sandlot? You ever seen the movie?
Mhm.
And it goes forever. That's our guarantee. Alright, so it's going to last forever. How often will people use it?
Every day.
Every day. Okay? Every day. And do other people like it?
Yep.
Yeah, how many people already own Cutco?
18 million.
18 million. Okay, if those people didn't like Cutco, I want to let you guys in a little secret. We'd be out of business, okay? Because we don't advertise. So people who have heard of Cutco before, if they don't own it, but they've heard of it, they've heard good things, okay? They haven't heard, oh, it's terrible. I mean, we wouldn't be in business anymore. So,
And they can even look at the reviews
Mhm.
on the computer.
yeah, so other people love it. So let me ask you guys a question, okay? How many products can you honestly think of? I want you guys to really think about this for a moment. How many products can you honestly think of that people, they buy one time, and they use every day, and it lasts forever?
Nothing.
They use on a daily basis, and they never have to buy it again.
Never.
Nothing, honestly.
Cutco.
You really can't think of anything, okay?
Yeah.
So the thing is, Cutco is the only product of its kind that I can ever think of that people use daily, lasts forever, but it's still affordable, okay? It's not like only rich people can afford it, okay? My parents have owned Cutco since I started doing this 9 years, and they're not rich by any means. My mom doesn't have the nicest house, car, shoes, purses, but she has Cutco. And you know what she told me when I first started selling this? When she saw it, she's like, why didn't you do this 20 years ago? Okay, so I'm the oldest of 6 kids altogether. Like, she needed Cutco before that, so I'm like, well, Mom, better late than never. All right, so, I mean, it's a good product. So, like, that's, and I feel good that my mom got Cutco 9 years ago. She's never had it sharpened. She's used it every day since. So, and it's still affordable. You know, the nicest houses of their kind, average people can't afford them. The nicest cars, watches. I mean, you don't see average people walking around at Weiss wearing Rolexes. I mean, maybe every now and then, but it doesn't happen. So, so it's still affordable. So that's something you guys can feel good about. Okay, that it's affordable, but it's the best of its kind. All right. So, what we're going to do is next I'm going to show you a video. This is Jeff Bry, the region manager that you guys heard from yesterday a little bit. The two quick videos I'm going to show you. The first one is called the 7 Steps to a Sale. Okay, so the Vector Sales Philosophy. And just so you know, someone like Sam Reed, she actually helps us out now with receptionist stuff, but she also sells Cutco. And her dad actually convinced her to go through this training. He's the president of Exit Realty, and he's like, you need to go through that training. Because his boss said, he's the president of Exit Realty in this area. His boss said, if I could, I'd make my realtors go through this training, Cutco sales training, because it teaches the basic principles of how to sell anything. So even like Kevin, who does personal training, the tips that you're going to learn here, he uses to sell his personal training services. Like, and it's not something that you want to take lightly. So definitely want to take some good notes on this. And then the second thing is value. Okay, they're going to talk about value, and maybe a little bit of a review from what I just talked about. But okay, so the 7 steps to a sale.